The entire country under a hurricane warning as Monster Matthew barrels through the Bahamas. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Saunders.
I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Hurricane Matthew is upon us, and tonight hundreds of New Providence and Grand Bahama residents have followed the course of family islanders evacuating homes, especially near the coasts. Conditions have begun to deteriorate in the central and southern Bahamas as those islands are feeling the brunt of this very powerful storm.
As Ragged Island, Long Island, and the rest in that chain are soaked in rain and winds have started to whip up, we head right over to Basil Dean for the latest on Hurricane Matthew. Basil, has there been any intensification of this storm as we head into the night?
No intensification, but Matthew continues to head toward the northwest, taking aim now for the island of Exuma after battering the island of Ragged Island within the last hour or so. And as you just said, heavy rains continue to affect most of the southeast and central Bahamas. Even in the northwest Bahamas, we're getting some of those feeder band affecting Grand Bahama as you speak, and just to the north of the capital. So rain continues to be a factor as the storm moves towards the north and west, heading towards Exuma. At 5 o'clock this afternoon, the center of Matthew was located near 22.5 degrees north, 75.7 west. Matthew is moving northwest at 12 miles per hour, and we expect this direction to continue through tonight and into tomorrow, with maximum sustained winds holding at 120 miles per hour. In terms of distance relative to islands in the central Bahamas and some northwestern islands as well, Matthew is 30 miles north-northwest of Duncantown, Ragged Island, 60 miles to the southwest of Deadmonds Key, Long Island. It is 71 miles south of Georgetown, Exuma, 203 miles southeast of Fresh Creek, Andros, and 205 miles to the southeast of New Providence. So you can see the track keeping it to northwest, possibly bumping it up to a Category 4 before it gets out of here. So Matthew's on the way, Christopher and Keishla, and everyone now should have been locked down for the arrival of this very strong and dangerous hurricane, because the sun is now going down. There's no more time for preparation, and we just have to bunker down and ride it out. And most importantly, continue to monitor ZNS TV 13 and radio, and keep abreast for the all-clear signal.
You're right, Basil. It seems like most people have lockdown. Nassau is quite a ghost town at this time. But I want to talk about a theme that seemed to prevail for most of the day, the sea surges that everyone is hopefully fleet if you live along the coast. Talk about the severity of impact from that aspect of the storm.
Well, the forecast models are suggesting that we can see sea surges or storm surges up to 15 feet, particularly along the southern coast of most of these islands. And we'll have to wait and see once the eye passes over what happens here. Ragged Island, they got a direct hit, but the good thing with Ragged Island, it's elevated pretty much out of the waters there. So it's one of those islands that not very flat. So we'll see once the assessment is done in Ragged Island to how much storm surge they would have gotten. But New Providence is where we're very much concerned, because it's a very flat island for the most part, and approaching from the south where we have lots of shallow waters, it could be catastrophic. So we'll wait and see. And once you have removed yourself from the shoreline, well, that is one good step for us.
Also, one thing that's been making the rounds on social media today is a presumable video of one of the models that have been run either from one of the international meteorological organizations, and it shows the storm making a loop and coming back towards the Bahamas, apparently making a hit from the north this time. I know that it's a little far away to start thinking about that projected path, but just to talk a little bit about how that is not a set in stone model, and it right now, if I understand correctly, is one of the outliers where it would loop back and hit the Bahamas. Talk about how that is incorporated into the entire forecast of a storm.
Well, Christopher, the entire cone is made up of multiple loops, and that is one of those model runs within the loop. But the general consensus has the system moving northwest for the most part, then turning towards the north and hugging the coast of the United States. However, we don't throw any of the models out, hence that particular model remains in there as a possibility. But there's been storms that have looped in the past, so it's nothing new in terms of tropical storm movement, but we'll wait and see how it goes. But my gut feeling is that it will continue moving northwest and then north and eventually northeast along the east coast of the United States.
All right, Basil, thanks a lot. I know that a lot of people have been thinking about that and thinking that that is a exact track and have been taking that as almost as the track to see. So I'm glad that we're talking about that. And again, like you said, that could very well happen, but most of the consensus is that it probably will not.
possibility,
It's a
but it may
possibility,
not.
but very much an outlier.
So we'll keep our eyes on